Good afternoon. Welcome to the TheoTrade afternoon video. I'm Blake Young. Today is June 13th, 2024, and we're going to talk about oil slips lower as electric utilities power up. As you can see, I have energy on the chart here, and today we broke through a multiple month low. We did it with kind of just a slip, but barely pushed through that low. Oil slippery, it's what happened. We go through that little bit of a low, and we just couldn't continue to move lower, but it is a break. It's a break of this support level. It's a fill and a close below this gap. And it could be the sign that we're going to continue to drift lower for the energy sector. Now, the energy sector is obviously the energy companies or companies that benefit from energy. Crude, however, pushed up to retest a downward sloping resistance line. Now, if we take a look at crude, and just over the last few months, we have lower highs, lower lows, lower highs, broke through the low, and we've recovered. So energy is breaking through support while crude is failing at resistance. So this pause in crude on the ascent in this area that was noisy, in this downward trending slope, this is a confluence of barriers. Highs and lows, resistance areas, both trending and horizontal. And I do think it's going to struggle getting past 80 again. And so if we're going to hold here or drift lower, it's going to be harder for energy companies to profit. And if it's going to be harder for them to profit, they're still going to produce because they have to hit the profits, and they're going to produce at 78, or they'll produce if it's $70 a barrel. Anywhere that's above about 55 or 60, they're going to continue to produce. OPEC are going to have their infighting. And again, I think crude is likely to return back to retest the lows near 73. And we'll get into the specifics of individual stocks momentarily. But one of the things we've seen over time and historically is that crude and really the energy sector, the energy companies, have a tendency to be inversely correlated to utilities. If energy costs are falling, then utilities have bigger profit margins and have a tendency to continue to run higher. We already know that utilities had this wonderful run up, and we paused and we pulled back, and you can see we're defending the support level rather than breaking the support level. And we're defending a support level near the highs and possibly even creating a bullish divergence in utilities. I don't see utilities suddenly reversing because they still offer 3, 4, 5% dividend yield. It is a safety play, and it's a substitute as a fixed income strategy. So what I want to do is I want to be able to sell energy stocks and collect that money to possibly pay for utility stocks. And if I'm paying for utility stocks and can own the underlying, I can also get paid that dividend. So we can take it from multiple approaches here. But if we can sell a put to get into a dividend stock or a utility dividend stock, we can collect premium and lower our cost. After we're in the utility cost or utility stocks, then we can also collect the dividend. And after we're in the dividend stocks and collecting those payments, we can sell call premium as covered calls to collect that again. And I'd call that double or even triple dipping on a utility stock. And as long as energy and energy stocks are struggling, as long as energy costs are relatively low, then this should help us out. Now, there's a little sidebar to that, and that is that the energy stocks, as in the crude stocks, they're going to slide, but natural gas could hold up. Natural gas is a byproduct of a lot of the oil producers. And if oil producers do produce less because the cost of oil is not as high, they're not getting their margins, they may slow production. And if they slow production, natural gas supply is going to be diminished and natural gas prices are going to go higher, which would slow utilities from climbing further. But we don't necessarily need utilities to climb. We need them to stay up here, hold up here, so that we can collect the premiums on the options while also collecting the dividends that they're going to pay us. Looking at energy today, energy is one of the worst performing sectors, so we could pretty much go anywhere. We could go with ExxonMobil or Chevron or Occidental, ConocoPhillips. I want to look at Slumber over here, down 1.5%, and look for that as a potential breakout. Now we could also look at Halliburton and some others, but let's start with Slumber. If we're looking at Slumber today, I could argue that we've bounced off of trend resistance, that we broke out of a little bear flag. The bear flag could arguably go from 48.50 down to this low about 42.50. And so therefore we could be looking for a 6-point breakout below yesterday's low or the open today. And a 6-point breakdown or fall should break us through this horizontal support near 42.77, and we could be looking at $38. $6 here is about 15% decline in Slumber. And part of the reason why I want to look at Slumber is not only because it has a nice downtrend, not only because it rejected its trend resistance, but because the fundamentals are less strong than some of those others that we might look at. If you look at the Analyze tab and you look at the financials, you'll say, hey, you know, that's a good company. They have 283 in free cash flow. And you know, I love looking at the quick ratio and current ratio. If we look at the quick ratio and current ratio, the current ratio is above 1. So they have the ability to meet all their needs for the year. The quick ratio would say they are required to sell their inventory to meet that because they are under 1. So current ratio is fine. Quick ratio is a little bit light. And their net income has been sliding. Their earnings per share have been sliding. So I do like this one because it's one of the weaker ones. If we compare it to ExxonMobil or ConocoPhillips, let's show you these really quickly. ExxonMobil has nearly 4 times the free cash flow. And if you look down at the quick ratio, their quick ratio is above 1 and their current ratio is about 1.4. So they have the ability to sit on their inventory to some extent. And they turn over their inventory a lot more times than someone like Slumber. ConocoPhillips, if you'll notice here, similarly, they have almost 4 times, not quite, $7.25 free cash flow. And if you look at their quick ratio and current ratio, quick ratio is over 1. So they even have a little more flexibility without having to sell out their inventory. Now, all of them, you're going to see their revenue, their net income, their earnings per share have been sliding as oil prices are lower. But Slumber is probably the one I like the best for a new short position. And ConocoPhillips broke through support today, but it's also sitting, or at least it's a short-term support, but it's also sitting where there's a lot of noise back here in January. So Slumber is my short choice for the day. And oil exploration stocks could be used as well. Or we'll just go with this individual stock. Now, because Slumber is in a downtrend and we're looking for it to break out, if you're looking for the $6 move and a directional move, I would say you've got to look at a long put. And if you're looking at that breakdown and a move lower, you'd want to probably do a defined risk, put vertical or put diagonal. If you look at the trade tab and scroll down to the option statistics, you can see the current implied volatility is 95%. And that changes the thought process to say, I don't want to be a buyer of puts, I want to sell premium. At the 95th percentile, we want to be a premium seller. We do have to be aware that we could have earnings here in July. But other than that, we want to be able to sell premium as it is breaking down. Selling premium at a delta of 35 to 40 for the next month, July 36. We don't really see a spike in implied volatility, so we really could just go to July 5th and have that 47% implied volatility. Selling a delta at 38, buying one strike higher. That's 45.46. You're going to get paid 30 cents roughly per dollar widespread. That means you're getting 30 cents for $70 risk, or $30 for $70 risk. And it's statistically right where you want it to be to collect the premium while you're waiting for this to not go up. It gives you the ability to let it go all the way up to 45 without risking any of your gains, or it would need to go all the way past 46 before you were in danger of a loss, and that's only a 25% probability. Meanwhile, back at Utilities, Utilities gave a lovely little bounce at the same horizontal support. So we have Slumber and energy stocks bouncing off their resistance, their horizontal and trend resistance down, and Utilities holding at support. And again, potentially creating a bullish divergence at the support level. So looking at the specific stocks here, let's go to the market watch. You'll see some of the utility stocks that we look at. And you know I'm a fan of Nextera. But if we look at Nextera and Southern, we're going to probably lean into the Nextera, and we're going to stick with electric utilities because they're going to be kept aloft as long as we have these hopes of AI continuing to move higher and driving the markets higher. If AI is going to continue to grow and develop, then we're going to have a lot of energy requirements, and I want to stay in these electric utilities. We'll start with SO, and then we'll go to NEE. As you can see, we're doing a similar bounce, at least in the last 4 days, but we didn't even hit the horizontal support. It's in a consolidation pattern at a short-term support level. Now, this would be one that I don't necessarily need it to go higher. The question is, can I collect the dividend on it by owning the stock and get 3.66%? Sure. If I look down at the bottom and look at the implied volatility percentile, we're at 74%. So it might be worth it to us to sell a month worth, or even all the way out to July 19th, so about 5 weeks worth, to collect that premium. At the money, 78.70, the closest one here, it's about dead center. So we could go with 80 or the 77.50, but at 80, we're getting paid 2.6%, but we'd be willing to buy it higher than the current price. The 77.50, they're going to give us 1.21%, or 90 cents at 77.50. So it's as though we were going to buy it at 76.50. It could drop down, trigger that trade at 76.50, and we're fine, or we just collect 1.2% for about a month worth of time. I think that is a low enough number that I would just still consider buying the stock and immediately turning around and selling calls against it. So buying the stock at 78.70, being willing to sell calls against it to collect that extra 1% premium and collect a 3.6% annualized dividend. But like I said, NEE is my preferred. So if you look at NEE, NextEra, we have a gap up, close higher. This arguably could be a Harami, a candlestick pattern, and potentially setting up for that bullish divergence. And the pullback from 80 to 73 is giving us an opportunity to trade 10% higher just to retest that previous high. Looking at the options on NEE, scrolling down, we're at the 41st percentile, so this one might lend to doing an in-out type spread. And I know this is not the traditional in-out spread, but this is where we're going to buy a delta near 70, which is 76 in this case, or the $70 strike for July, and then sell the same time frame or shorter to collect enough time decay to pay for the trade, so that we don't have the time decay component. If I buy the 70 for 460, and we change this layout to intrinsic extrinsic, that 70 extrinsic value or time decay is $1.26. So if I sold the 75, they're going to pay us more than that. We're actually going to be in a positive time decay for this position. We'd pay $1.29 in time decay, we'd collect $1.55. Now that 75 is not where I'm looking for it to go. I'm looking for it to go all the way to 80. So we're going to take this time frame and we're going to buy the 70 for July, but we're going to sell the July 5th and go up to that 75 and collect $1.09. So now if it gets there, what's the probability of that happening in these 2 weeks? That 75 is a 38 delta. So lower probabilities that it's going to hit there and go past there, and it gives us a chance to roll up and out while still holding on to this long position that should be moving deeper in the money. Now that almost pays for our time decay. We have a $5 wide spread that's only going to cost us $3.50 or $3.60. If we pay $3.50 and collect $1.50, we're getting nearly 50% return on risk if it spikes higher and we don't roll it out. If we get closer to that 75 and we roll it up and out, up to say the 80, which is my target, and out in time and collect another $1, our dollar cost would lower down to $2.50, and we'd have a $10 wide spread, which now we're at 3-to-1 reward risk ratio if we hit that topside target. The last thing I would say is you could put this as a pairs trade, about a 3-to-2 pairs trade, as a filter or a way to watch whether you should still be in that trade. We could do it individually with NextEra versus Slumber, but if you want to watch the broad sectors and say, I want to look at 3 times utilities, 3x XLU minus 2 times XLE, this is going to be something we could watch and say, okay, I'm going to stay long NextEra and short Slumber, or long utilities and short energy, until I see this break through 26.33. You can absolutely trade this as a pairs trade. It will lock up some premium there for you, but this would be looking for a continuation. And if we do the same kind of pattern as we've done before, we're talking about 31 down to 13, down to 0, 0 to 13 to 31. And that could put us on track to see a 50% return or higher on the underlying, which should provide both a trend filter and an opportunity to be able to take a leveraged position selling energy and buying utilities. Well, that's going to do it for me today. Thanks for watching. Join me again next week, and certainly join me again tomorrow morning as we do TheoTrade Live.